The year was 2157, and Earth had transformed into a utopia of technological marvels and harmonious living. Cities glowed with the soft light of renewable energy, disease had been largely eradicated, and peace was a universal achievement. Humanity had reached heights of progress once thought impossible, yet the cosmos held mysteries beyond their grasp. One fateful day, a signal was intercepted, emanating from the distant stars. At first, its meaning was elusive, but it soon became clear that an advanced civilization was reaching out to make contact. In the heart of New London, the global center for scientific discovery, the brightest minds assembled to decipher the extraterrestrial message. Among them was Jack Thornton, a brilliant astrophysicist known for his curiosity and audacity. He had spent countless nights under the canopy of space, pondering the existence of other life forms. Now, the evidence was undeniable, and he was at the forefront of this historic event. Miles away, on a planet known as Etera, Princess Zoraya stood before her father, King Thaler. As the heir to an ancient and powerful empire, Zoraya was trained in the arts of diplomacy, science, and combat. Her father, a wise and just ruler, entrusted her with a mission of immense importance to lead an expedition to Earth and establish peaceful relations. With her heart full of determination, Zoraya boarded her sleek spacecraft, bound for the blue planet that had captured her people's interest. The descent to Earth was smooth, the craft slicing through the atmosphere with the precision of a scalpel. As they approached the landing site, the human welcoming committee came into view, their faces a mix of awe and apprehension. Zoraya, with her regal bearing and serene composure, disembarked first, her presence commanding respect. Jack, chosen to greet the visitors, felt a thrill of anticipation. His gaze met Zoraya's, and for a moment time seemed to pause. There was an unspoken connection, a recognition of kindred spirits. Introductions were made and formalities observed, but beneath the surface, a deeper bond began to form. Zoraya's keen intellect and gentle grace intrigued Jack, while his warmth and ingenuity captivated her. They spent hours in discussion, exploring each other's worlds and exchanging ideas. Their conversations ranged from the profound to the whimsical, revealing a shared curiosity and a growing affection. As weeks turned into months, Zoraya and Jack's relationship blossomed in secrecy. They stole moments together, away from prying eyes, discovering a love that transcended the boundaries of their species. Theirs was a union of souls, a melding of minds and hearts that defied the odds. Zoraya's pregnancy came as a surprise, a miracle that brought joy and fear in equal measure. The knowledge that their child would bridge the gap between two worlds filled them with hope, but also a profound sense of responsibility. The news could not remain hidden forever. King Thaler, upon learning of his daughter's liaison and impending motherhood, was consumed by rage. He viewed the union as a betrayal, a threat to the purity of his lineage and the stability of his empire. His wrath was swift and merciless, declaring war upon humanity for what he perceived as their transgression. The skies over Earth darkened with the shadow of impending conflict, as both worlds prepared for a confrontation that would test their resolve and determination. Zoraya found herself torn between her loyalty to her father and her love for Jack and their unborn child. She pleaded for peace, but her father's heart had hardened. Jack, driven by a fierce protectiveness, rallied Earth's defenses, determined to shield his family from the coming storm. Amidst the chaos, their love stood as a beacon of hope, a testament to the possibility of unity in a universe divided by fear and prejudice. The war that loomed on the horizon threatened to shatter the fragile peace both civilizations had known. Yet, within the turmoil, Zoraya and Jack clung to the belief that their love could forge a new path, one that might heal the rift between their peoples and create a future where their child could thrive in a world unbound by the chains of hatred and division. Their journey was just beginning, and the fate of two worlds hung in the balance. The announcement of war reverberated across the globe, shattering the serenity Earth had come to know. In response to King Thaler's declaration, humanity scrambled to fortify its defenses. Governments united under a singular command, pooling resources and technology in a desperate bid to protect their world. Cities bristled with advanced weaponry, and space stations were converted into strategic military outposts. The tension was palpable, an electric charge in the air that foreshadowed the coming storm. In the heart of New London, Jack Thornton found himself at the center of the whirlwind. His mind raced with strategies and contingencies, but his heart was heavy with worry for Zoraya and their unborn child. Zoraya, confined to a secure location for her safety, felt the weight of the impending conflict. She spent her days in quiet contemplation, her mind torn between her duty to her people and her love for Jack. Each night, she gazed at the stars, wondering if peace was a fleeting dream. Zoraya's isolation was broken by the arrival of Captain Elias, a seasoned Earth military officer tasked with overseeing her protection. Stern but fair, Elias was initially wary of the alien princess. However, he soon recognized her genuine desire for harmony and was moved by her plight. They formed an unlikely alliance, working together to find a way to bridge the chasm between their worlds. Elias's pragmatism complemented Zoraya's idealism, and their collaboration sparked a glimmer of hope. On the front lines, Earth's forces prepared for the inevitable. Jack, now a key advisor to the Global Defense Council, worked tirelessly to develop countermeasures against the advanced Iteran technology. His nights were filled with restless sleep, haunted by visions of destruction. Yet, amid the chaos, he found solace in the memory of Zoraya's touch and the promise of their future together. Their love was his anchor, a beacon guiding him through the darkness. In the Iteran capital, King Thaler marshaled his forces with relentless determination. His once benevolent visage had hardened into a mask of unyielding resolve. Advisors and generals debated strategies, their voices echoing through the grand halls of the palace. Amidst the preparations, whispers of dissent began to circulate. Some questioned the righteousness of the war, their doubts fueled by the stories of Zoraya's compassion and her bond with Jack. These murmurs, though quiet, hinted at the possibility of change within the Iteran ranks. As the days turned into weeks, the inevitability of conflict loomed larger. Diplomatic efforts to avert war faltered, each side entrenched in their convictions. The skies above Earth grew crowded with spacecraft, a testament to the growing tension. Yet, in the midst of this turmoil, a covert mission was set in motion. Jack and Elias devised a plan to infiltrate the Iteran capital and appeal directly to King Thaler. It was a desperate gamble, but one they believed could turn the tide. The mission was fraught with peril. Disguised and armed with advanced cloaking technology, Jack and a small team of elite soldiers embarked on the perilous journey. Zoraya, though confined, contributed crucial insights into Iteran security protocols, her knowledge proving invaluable. As the team navigated the treacherous path to the heart of the Iteran Empire, Jack's resolve was tested. Every step was a reminder of the stakes, the lives that hung in the balance. The final approach to the Iteran palace was tense. Jack's heart pounded as they bypassed patrols and surveillance systems, their success hinging on split-second decisions. When they finally breached the inner sanctum, they were confronted by King Thaler himself. The confrontation was charged with emotion, a collision of ideals and grievances. Jack spoke with fervor, his words a plea for peace and understanding. He painted a vision of a future where their child could live free from the shadow of war, where both species could coexist and thrive. King Thaler's response was icy, his anger barely restrained. Yet, as Jack's words echoed through the hall, a flicker of doubt crossed the king's face. The silence was deafening, the tension thick as a storm. Zoraya's voice, transmitted through a secure link, added a poignant counterpoint. She spoke of love, unity, and the shared destiny of their peoples. Her words were a balm, soothing the raw edges of Thaler's fury. In that moment, the fate of two worlds teetered on a knife's edge. The king's decision would shape the course of history, determining whether the future held the promise of peace or the devastation of war. As the echoes of their words faded, the room seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the verdict that would define their destiny. The silence in the Iteran palace was profound, the weight of the moment pressing down on everyone present. King Thaler's stern gaze bore into Jack, searching for any sign of deception. Jack stood firm, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and hope. Zoraya's voice had pierced through the king's fury, planting a seed of doubt in his mind. For a long moment, it seemed as though the universe itself held its breath. King Thaler finally spoke, his voice a rumble of restrained anger. He demanded proof of the sincerity behind Jack's words, something more tangible than mere promises. Jack, prepared for this moment, produced a small device from his pocket. It was a holographic projector containing a recorded message from Zoraya. As the image flickered to life, Zoraya's visage filled the room. She spoke with a depth of emotion that transcended words, her plea for peace and understanding resonating with everyone present. Thaler watched, his expression inscrutable, as his daughter's hologram expressed her love for both her family and for Jack, and her hope for their child's future. The message concluded, leaving a heavy silence in its wake. The king's eyes softened, a rare vulnerability showing through his regal facade. He dismissed the guards and advisors, signaling that he wished to speak with Jack alone. Once the room had cleared, Thaler approached Jack, his demeanor less hostile. He spoke of his fears, the pressure of leading a civilization and the responsibilities that came with it. Jack listened intently, understanding that beneath the king's stern exterior was a father who felt betrayed and frightened. He shared his own fears, his desire to protect his family and the world he loved. The two men, so different yet bound by common threads, found a fragile understanding. Thaler's decision was not made lightly. He agreed to a temporary ceasefire, a chance for both sides to explore the possibility of peace. The terms were delicate, the balance precarious. Jack and his team departed the Ytaran capital with a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that their mission was far from over. Back on Earth, the news of the ceasefire brought a collective sigh of relief. But the tension remained, a reminder of the fragile truce. Zoraya was overjoyed when she heard of the ceasefire, her hope rekindled. She and Jack spent precious moments together, planning for the future and dreaming of a world where their child could grow up in peace. However, they knew that this fragile peace could shatter at any moment. Their love, while powerful, was not enough to bridge the chasm between their worlds without the support of their people. As part of the ceasefire agreement, a delegation of Ytaran diplomats arrived on Earth. They were met with a mix of curiosity and suspicion. These delegates, led by Thaler's trusted advisor, General Kale, began the arduous task of negotiating terms with Earth's leaders. The discussions were tense, each side wary of the other, but the presence of Zoraya and Jack provided a stabilizing influence. Their relationship became a symbol of what could be achieved through unity and mutual respect. Amidst the political maneuvering, Zoraya and Jack faced their own personal challenges. Zoraya's pregnancy advanced, and the reality of their situation became ever more apparent. They sought solace in each other, finding strength in their bond. Jack marveled at the life they had created, a symbol of hope and possibility. Zoraya, despite the weight of her responsibilities, found joy in the simple moments they shared. The diplomatic efforts gradually bore fruit. Small steps were taken to build trust between the two civilizations. Joint scientific endeavors and cultural exchanges began to take shape, showcasing the potential of collaboration. Skeptics on both sides remained, their voices a constant reminder of the deep-seated prejudices and fears that had to be overcome. Yet, each small victory brought them closer to a lasting peace. One evening, as Jack and Zoraya sat under the stars, they reflected on the journey they had undertaken. The sky was clear, the stars twinkling like diamonds against the velvet night. Zoraya's hand rested on her growing belly, and Jack's arm wrapped protectively around her. They spoke of their dreams for their child, a future untainted by the hatred and division that had plagued their past. Their quiet moment was interrupted by an urgent message from General Kale. A faction within the Ytaran military, opposed to the peace talks, had launched a rogue attack on a remote Earth outpost. The fragile ceasefire was at risk of collapsing. Jack and Zoraya knew that they had to act swiftly to prevent all-out war from reigniting. With heavy hearts, they prepared to return to the negotiation table, determined to salvage the peace they had worked so hard to achieve. The days that followed were a whirlwind of negotiations, crisis management, and strategic planning. Jack and Zoraya's presence proved pivotal, their unwavering commitment to peace inspiring others to follow their lead. The rogue faction's actions were condemned, and measures were put in place to prevent further incidents. Trust, though still fragile, began to take root. As the threat of war slowly receded, the focus shifted to building a sustainable future. Initiatives to integrate Ytaran and Earth technologies were launched, fostering innovation and cooperation. Educational programs were established to promote cultural understanding, ensuring that the next generation would inherit a world united by common goals rather than divided by fear. Zoraya and Jack's child was born amidst this backdrop of hope and renewal. The birth was celebrated not just as a personal joy for the couple, but as a symbol of the new era dawning for both civilizations. Their child, a bridge between worlds, embodied the potential for unity and the promise of a brighter future. The journey was far from over. There were still challenges to face, prejudices to overcome, and wounds to heal. But Zoraya and Jack, their love stronger than ever, were ready to face whatever came next. Together they had forged a path through the darkness, illuminating the way forward for both their peoples. The stars above, once distant and mysterious, now seemed closer, a reminder of the endless possibilities that awaited them. The birth of Zoraya and Jack's child was a momentous occasion that reverberated across both worlds. Named Eliana, she was a symbol of hope and unity, her existence a testament to the possibility of harmony between Earth and Ytera. The day she was born, A sense of cautious optimism spread among the people of both civilizations. Yet the road ahead was fraught with obstacles, and the fragile peace required constant vigilance. Zoraya cradled Eliana in her arms, gazing at her daughter's tiny features with a mixture of awe and love. Jack stood by her side, his heart swelling with pride and protectiveness. They knew their child carried the weight of great expectations, but in that moment she was simply their beloved daughter. The room was filled with a quiet joy, a haven amidst the turmoil of their world. Outside their sanctuary, the work of building a lasting peace continued. The rogue faction's attack had been a stark reminder of the fragility of their truce. Efforts to quell dissent and strengthen alliances were redoubled. General Kale, who had proven to be a steadfast ally, worked tirelessly to root out the elements within the Itaran military that sought to undermine the peace process. His dedication to the cause earned him respect, and he became a crucial bridge between the two worlds. On Earth, diplomatic efforts were bolstered by cultural exchanges and joint scientific projects. The sharing of knowledge and resources began to break down barriers, fostering a sense of mutual respect. Schools integrated lessons about Itaran culture and history, teaching children about their new allies. Similarly, Itara embraced Earth's technological innovations, incorporating them into their own advancements. Amidst these efforts, Zoraya and Jack played a pivotal role. They traveled between Earth and Wytera, meeting with leaders, attending public events, and speaking about their vision for a unified future. Their love story became a powerful narrative, inspiring many to believe in the possibility of lasting peace. However, not everyone was convinced. There were still those who viewed the union with suspicion, their fears stoked by centuries of isolation and misunderstanding. One evening, as the family settled into their home in New London, an urgent message arrived. Eliana had just fallen asleep, her soft breathing a soothing rhythm in the quiet of the night. Zoraya and Jack exchanged a worried glance as they read the communique. A high-ranking Itaran official had been assassinated, and the attackers left a message condemning the peace talks. The fragile truce was once again on the brink of collapse. Rushing to an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders and Itaran diplomats, Zoraya and Jack felt the weight of the crisis. The room was filled with tense faces and whispered conversations. King Thalor, who had traveled to Earth to oversee the negotiations, stood at the center, his presence commanding attention. His eyes met Zoraya's, and she saw the turmoil within him. Despite their strained relationship, he trusted her judgment and relied on her influence. The discussions were fraught, accusations flying and tempers flaring. It was clear that the assassination was an attempt to derail the peace process, but the perpetrators remained elusive. Amid the chaos, Zoraya's voice rang out, calm and resolute. She spoke of the future they were fighting for, the world they wanted for their children. Her words cut through the tension, reminding everyone of the stakes. Jack followed, his practical mind outlining a strategy to address the security breaches and track down the culprits. Their combined efforts brought a semblance of order to the room. Measures were agreed upon to strengthen security, and an investigation was launched to uncover the masterminds behind the attack. It was a small victory, but it was enough to keep the peace process alive. As they left the meeting, Jack took Zoraya's hand, squeezing it gently. They knew their path was fraught with challenges, but their resolve was unwavering. In the following weeks, the investigation into the assassination intensified. Clues were scarce, and the trail seemed to grow colder with each passing day. Jack and Zoraya balanced their roles as parents with their responsibilities to the peace process. Eliana, oblivious to the turmoil around her, brought light and laughter into their lives. Her innocent joy was a constant reminder of what they were fighting for. One night, as Zoraya rocked Eliana to sleep, she reflected on their journey. The stars outside their window seemed to whisper secrets, their distant light a symbol of hope. She thought of her father, his struggle to reconcile his love for her with his duty as a king. She wondered if he too looked up at the same stars, seeking guidance. The bond between them, though strained, was still strong, and she knew he shared her desire for peace. A breakthrough in the investigation came unexpectedly. A former member of the rogue faction, seeking redemption, provided crucial information about the network behind the attack. This intelligence led to a series of coordinated raids on hidden bases, revealing a web of conspiracy that spanned both worlds. The arrests were swift and decisive, the ringleaders brought to justice. The threat to the peace process was significantly diminished, but vigilance remained essential. With the immediate danger quelled, focus returned to the ongoing negotiations. Trust, though still fragile, began to solidify as both sides saw the benefits of collaboration. Joint initiatives in space exploration, environmental conservation, and medical research showcased the potential of their alliance. The wounds of the past began to heal, slowly but surely, as new bonds were forged. Zariah and Jack continued to be the heart of this transformation. Their love, tested by adversity, grew stronger with each challenge they overcame. They stood as a testament to the power of unity, their story inspiring others to believe in the possibility of a shared future. Eliana, their beloved daughter, grew up surrounded by this spirit of hope and resilience. The years ahead would bring new challenges and triumphs, but for now, Zariah and Jack took solace in the progress they had made. As they looked into their daughter's eyes, they saw the promise of a new era, one where the stars were no longer distant and mysterious, but a shared horizon, beckoning them towards a brighter tomorrow.